What's up, guys? It's your boy Curly Fries, and conspiracy theories have always been something that's interested me. Not because, I like conspiracy theories, but more like you just listen to somebody talk about how the government is lying to us and they're spying on us using pigeons as secret drones, and you listen to that and you kind of just have to think for a moment, like, what made them believe this? And because of that, I wanted to make this video where I went out and I found 4 crazy conspiracy theories that I kind of just want to talk about and kind of like poke fun at a little bit, because most of the time conspiracy theories can kind of be answered in like 2 sentences. So I just picked some goofy ones. These are none of like the serious conspiracy theories. So like I'm not going into territory where it's like, the government is hiding people inside the earth from us, or like aliens are secretly in Area 51. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm doing more of just like the funny little ones that we can kind of just laugh at, you know? Okay, so this is the Disney Frozen theory. So people believed that Walt Disney like cryo freeze himself after he died. Why? I do not know. Do people actually have proof of this? There is no proof, but people believe it. And apparently, because Disney didn't want people digging into, like, why did he freeze himself? Why did Walt Disney, why did Walt Disney get frozen? They made the movie Frozen so that when you look up Disney Frozen or Walt Disney Frozen, the movie shows up instead of, the rumors. But I feel like there's a couple really easy answers to this theory. One, it doesn't do that. When I look up Disney Frozen or like Disney Frozen theory, it still pops up. It's not the movie. It's not the kids movie. It's just, people talking about how they made the kids movie as a cover up. So, first off, if it was a cover up, they did a horrible job of it. And 2, I don't personally feel like this is that big of a deal for Disney. I know that this might be just like a little rumor, like, hey, that's not good press, but like, when was the last time you heard anybody talk about it? I feel like it's just such like a small thing that not a lot of people know about, that why would they spend so much money, so much time making a movie? Like, people don't realize how long it takes to make an animated movie. It's like a while. So I don't think they planned this for a couple years. I think it's more of just a coincidence. So, and also, like, he's probably not frozen. But like, he might be. Who knows? I don't think he is. And also another thing, why would he want to be frozen? I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Would you guys ever want to like get frozen after you die? Do like the cryo freeze thing? Because personally, I don't. I'd rather just like be done. It's like I already lived long enough. I don't want to try to come back to life if like, oh, I cryo freeze and then 500 years from now we figure out how to bring people back. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. There's going to be a lot of problems 500 years from now. I don't want to deal with any of those. Yeah, this theory doesn't really make any sense. So this one's going to be very short. We all know the Loch Ness Monster. I feel like this is, when you think of conspiracy theory, you think of Bigfoot, you think of the Loch Ness Monster, and you think of the lizard people. The Loch Ness Monster is, if you don't know it, it's just like a little dude in the ocean. I think it's in Scotland. And apparently the monster Nessy, she lives in a lake and she only comes out, a couple times, and she's only ever been caught on photo like once. But I don't know a single person nowadays that actually believes in this, because the dude that took a photo of it admitted that it was fake. Like, he literally, because people were like ridiculing him, he was like, yeah, guys, it wasn't real. It was just a fake prop that I put in the water. The actual toy was like 2 inches tall, and then people were like able to take the image and like figure out, yeah, it was like a tiny little toy that he just put in the water. So if you still believe in the Loch Ness Monster, you're either crazy or you're a child. The Loch Ness Monster, she's not real. Nessie's not real. You can believe if you want to, but remember, at the end of the day, she's not actually real. There is no Tooth Fairy. There is no Queen of England. Speaking of not real, apparently people believe Finland isn't a real place. This feels like a joke. I'm like, only confession here, I'm only like 50% sure this is a real theory. I think this might be satirical, but, who knows? I found it on Reddit, so like half the time you don't even know. So this post just like, it's so crazy that I'm like, there's no way somebody actually believes this, but I don't know. If you know if this is satirical or not, tell me in the comments. We're just going to pretend that it is. So the theory goes like this. Finland isn't a real place, okay? Finland, the country, it's not real. It's actually, there is no landmass there, and Russia and Japan had an agreement where Japan got to go fish there, and because people think there's land there, there is no like fishing laws and like environmental safety things, so they can just fish all that they want. And it's kind of it's insane if you think about it for like a couple minutes, because like, yeah, Finland's a real place. People live there. How can you be convinced that an entire country doesn't exist? If that country doesn't exist, what do you tell the people that are living there right now? He has some answers to this. So I'm going to, hold on, let me grab this so I can just read directly from the source. This is exactly what he's saying, okay? So here's what I remember from it. Like I said earlier, he believed that the Finland conspiracy, Finland's not a real country. There is no landmass between Sweden and Russia. If you didn't know, Finland's in between Sweden and Russia, okay? We're doing some geography here. You know, if you're American, you're probably going to need this. So Finland was created sometime during the Cold War between Russia and the West. It was also around this time that environmentalism and the idea of preserving our planet was really taking off. And it is due to both of these things that two of the main players in the Finland conspiracy came to work closely with each other, Russia and Japan. Okay, so then they say like Japan and Soviet reunions have always been shaky, but like really secretive. And basically, he's just saying that the Soviet Union was like, hey, you guys can fish here. We're going to have a treaty. You know, we're going to be cool with each other. You guys got to give us some fish. Okay. That was the rule. What were relations between Japan and Russia? No, what? I can't read. Why were relations between Japan and Russia always good throughout the Cold War, despite the major geopolitical differences between the countries and close geographical positions that you would think would cause tension? The answer is simple. They shared a common secret, a common asset that worked in both of their favors, and that asset was Finland. Here's some questions. There are clearly some unanswered questions to this conspiracy that I'll try and address below. What about the Finnish people? Are they all in the conspiracy? No, people from Finland genuinely believe they're from Finland. In reality, they are from small towns on either the eastern part of Sweden, western part of Russia, or the northern part of Estonia. Three things. Two things, actually. One, so let's say a person lives in east of Finland and in the west of Finland. He says if they're in the east, they'd be living in Sweden, and if they're in the west, they're living in Russia. How, if they drive to each other, if you went from, I don't know, what's the most east city? Most east city in Finland. If somebody was to drive between those two places, what would you tell them? Because you're saying that there's a large gap in between. Because, you know, you're saying the eastern part of Sweden and the western part of Russia, okay? How in the world are they driving? Also, that actually kind of doesn't make any sense, because isn't Sweden in the west and Russia's in the east? Wait. What? Hold on. Am I crazy that Sweden's to the east of Finland and the west of Russia. What? The eastern part of Sweden. Oh, I get it. I'm not thinking. Like the inner part of England. Okay. But it's saying all of Finland doesn't exist. It's just a body of water. How do you drive in between? That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's move on to another question. What about all of Finland's other exports other than Nokia? Finland's three biggest and three most well-known are industries of oil, tech, and software. The oil is gathered in offshore platforms where the rest of us believe the landmass of Finland is. Again, the Japanese get to avoid rigging regulations in this respect. I don't know what this person's problem is with Japan, because this is like, you wouldn't even think, like if you think Finland wasn't a real place, how are we roping Japan into this? I get Japan and, you know, Russia, but doesn't Russia have like better countries they're in relations with other than Japan. I feel like that's the most random country for this situation. Okay, that they gathered offshore platforms where we think the landmass of Finland is. The tech companies have already been explained above with the Nokia post. The Nokia post? What's the Nokia post? Okay, I don't know where the Nokia post is. What about everywhere else in Finland? There's a lot to it and it couldn't all be made up. 99% of Finland is forest. A lot of it doesn't need to be accounted for when addressing Finnish geography. What does that even mean? What? I thought you said it doesn't. Finland doesn't exist, but now it does exist. But what? Okay. Okay. This is what is making me think this is satirical. Why the name Finland? The country was originally made for fishing. What do fish have? Fins. Thus, Finland. That's making me think that this is satirical, but I'm not entirely sure. There's a comment here. You can see the coast of Tallinn, the capital of Estonia, from Helsinki, which is I think the capital of Finland. How do you explain this? The OP goes, no, you can't. No, you can't. That's how you know you've won the argument. This is what I learned in my it was an English class where we talked about like rhetorical language and stuff. Whenever a person starts like not defending themselves, but starts like either attacking you or just saying the most broad like statements of just like, no, you're wrong. That's when you know that you've won. If they're not backing it up, you've won. No, you can't. Didn't even put a period there. And then the comment right after that, but you can. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. The drive from Helsinki to Moscow is a short one and doesn't cross any bodies of water. You're sure Helsinki is in Sweden, Moscow, Russia. So they're saying kind of what I was saying. If you drive from Finland, where he's saying this city is in Sweden, and you drive to Moscow, it's a short drive and you don't cross any bodies of water. How is that in Sweden? Because you're saying there's nothing, Finland doesn't exist, okay? If we're driving and Finland doesn't exist, there should be just ocean. That's what you're saying. That's what the person's saying because they're fishing and stuff like that. How do we not cross any body of water? I'm getting really into this. Okay, but this is an actual like Reddit r/Finland conspiracy. Finland wins first ice hockey Olympic gold after beating ROC 2-1 in the final game. Person put, stop trying to convince us it exists. No, it's not real. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Okay, wait, no, it might be real. Because the rules, number one rule is no asking if this subreddit is serious. Yes, I'm gonna read this in the most salty. Yes, this is for the discussion about Finland conspiracy and how to debunk it. We are being serious, so stop asking. So this is real, but let me see the newest post. When was the newest post? 4 years ago. People don't post here anymore. Okay. People are starting to realize Finland's a real place. But this is probably the craziest conspiracy in this video, that people believe that Finland didn't exist for some reason. I don't know why anybody would. Also, why specifically Finland? I wonder who said, yeah, Finland, we don't want it to be real. I don't like Finland. It's kind of weird. Anyway, let's move on to our last conspiracy for the day, for the video. And this one, also a doozy. This one's also pretty crazy, and I don't know why anybody would believe this. So, I'm going to use a specific example, but this is kind of like a blanket theory that a lot of people have for many different people, and that's the celebrity died and got replaced. Okay? Specifically, the one that I see everywhere is Advil Lavigne. If you don't know who she is, she's the rock lady, she did the song Skater Boy, he was a boy, she was a girl, that was her. But basically the theory is that she game overed in 2003. If you don't know what that is, I just can't say what she did. Apparently, She game overed in 2003 and was replaced by a woman named Melissa Vandella. So the reason people think she was replaced by this Melissa lady is because in a photo shoot, she had like the name Melissa written on her hand. So people took that as a secret like cry for help from Melissa, being like, "Hey guys, it's me. I'm not Advil Lavigne." But Avril Lavigne, she's come out obviously multiple times and said like, "Hey, I didn't die, guys. Like, I think I would remember if I did." And no, I was never replaced. My name was never Melissa. I am Avril. I've always been the same person. But that's exactly what a actor would say. So I'm not entirely sure. It could, like, I don't want to rule this one out because you never know. You never know. It could secretly. Okay, this is shh. This is just me and you real quick. Zoom in, get closer. I'm not completely buying that it's her. There's a lot of evidence, and by that I mean she wrote the name on her hand. It was a secret cry for help. Okay? In all seriousness, though, this is insane. I don't know why anybody would actually believe this. And also, it's kind of weird how people have this weird, like, this obsession of like, okay, we're gonna take this celebrity. What if they died and what if they got replaced? Like, I don't know why people do that. It's very strange. Same thing with like somebody like Paul McCartney. This also happened with him. Apparently, people thought he died and that there were tributes to him in songs and I'm like, Paul McCartney, the guy, like when you look at an old photo, like with people sometimes when they age, they can look pretty different. Paul McCartney looks like the same person all throughout time. It's insane. He is I'm like, they either did, if this is true that he passed away, they found a really good replacement. Because I mean, he looks the exact same when he was like, what, like 23 and like 67, however old he is now. But people also did this with the Queen too while she was around. People were like, the Queen died, and it's actually, we're on our third Queen here. And it's like, what? It's like conspiracy theories, like I said earlier, they're always crazy, but I feel like a conspiracy theory about a specific person dying and then getting replaced is like really weird. It's also like with this, the body double thing, it's kind of parasocial almost. It's like, people are saying things like, yeah, this person died and got replaced by this other person. It's like weirdly like parasocial. Another thing with conspiracy theories, people don't have too much time on their hands. I'm like, you have enough time to just believe in this stuff, like, and just be like, yeah, argue it, like Finland, like the people, like, imagine that, having so much time on your hands that you can just be like, Finland isn't real, I have proof, and like research about it and be like, Finland isn't real. Anyway, like I said earlier, conspiracy theories are interesting because like if you suspend your disbelief for like 3 seconds, you can still realize that most of these are the most random stuff and people just talking out of their butts because they have too much time. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, you could subscribe. And anyway, I'll see you later.